Secretary Richard Olatunde also urged civil servants, private sector workers, artisans and other residents of the state who are eligible voters to seize the opportunity and collect their PVCs. Governor Akeredolu called on the people to place premium on the collection of PVC to enable them exercise their franchise in the forthcoming elections. He directed all political appointees and other top government functionaries to return to their local government areas and wards to encourage the people to collect their PVC. Still on PVC collection, the Independent National Electoral Commission is intensifying efforts to ensure that more permanent voters' cards are collected before the deadline. To achieve success, the Commission embarked on street awareness campaign across the 18 local government areas of Ondo State. Head of Department, Voter Education, Publicity, Gender and Civil Society Organizations, Olufemike Segun Oshifeso, led the campaign in Akure, the state capital. She said the electorate have till Sunday, 22nd of January, to get their PVC at the ward level before they are returned to the local government headquarters. Oborela Mweji has details.
Independent National.
Early this year, the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) yielded to the call by Nigerians to extend PVC collection to enable more people to exercise their franchise during next month's general elections. Despite the January 29, 2023 deadline, thousands of PVCs remain uncollected. To this end, INEC in Ondo State took to the streets, sensitizing residents on the need to pick up their PVCs before Sunday, the 22nd, at the ward level. The exercise was carried out in different dialects for proper information dissemination. Head of Department, Voter Education, Publicity, Gender and Civil Society Organization, Olufemike Segun Oshifeso, who led the campaign at the state capital, said the exercise was necessary to educate people on where they can get their cards.
We found out people were going around the gate today. We found out that even more people are being collected. And they were asking us where we are. That's why you can see that we are reciting the number of words, names, the polling units and all that. We are mentioning them so people will know where to go to collect this voters card. This weekend is very important. So they should go there and collect their voters card. After 22nd, by 23rd, we move back to local government headquarters. That's where they will collect these cards.
Governor Oluwarotimi Akeredolu at a stakeholders meeting with APC Southwest leaders earlier this week had expressed the urgent need to address the low rate of PVC's collection in the Southwest. Omoriola Mbiji, Osrc News.
Not leaving the forthcoming general elections, the National Peace Committee has met with the leadership of the nation's 18 registered political parties and their presidential candidates, demanding that they should allow the people's choice to prevail in this year's elections. Addressing the gathering before the committee and the presidential candidates went into a closed-door meeting, the chairman of the committee and our former head of state, General Abdel Salami Abubakar, said the aim of the interactive session was to build confidence amongst the people in the electoral process.
To trade blames, but to raise issues and concerns so that we can explore the best means of resolving these concerns. I appeal to all of you to be moderate in your language, show respect to the views and concerns of one another, and listen to the concerns.
That's why we have gotten together to let them know that there were infractions, there were some breaches. I don't think we're really satisfied in the main. It's work in progress. There's bound to be some, disagreements, and there's bound to be some differences.
In the meantime, the presidential candidate of the All Progressives Congress, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, today took his campaign to Jigawa State, where he promised to give the people a good life if elected in the February 25 polls. According to him, a vote for him is a vote for progress, for development, for agricultural business, constant electricity, and good education. Tinubu, a former governor of Lagos State, was at the rally alongside his strong allies in the north, including the governors of Jigawa, Kano, Zamfara, Plateau, Borno, Yobe, and Kebbi states. Staying with politics, the National Working Committee of the People's Democratic Party has suspended a former governor of Enugu State, Dr. Chimaroke Nnamani, and Mr. Chris Ogbu with immediate effect. A statement by the National Publicity Secretary of the party, Debo Ologunagba, said they were suspended over allegations of anti-party activities. The statement said the NWC also suspended 7 party members in Ekiti State over allegations of anti-party activities. The suspended members include Ayeni Funsho, Ajijola Oladimeji, Emiola Jennifer, Ajayi Babatunde, Olayinka Olalere, Akerele Fayoshe, and Oluwajomiloju John. The PDP urged leaders, critical stakeholders, and members of the party to remain united and focused ahead of the elections. Meanwhile, the former governor of Enugu State, Chimaroke Nnamani, who was suspended from the PDP, has protested his suspension, saying his right to fair hearing was violated. The suspension of Nnamani, one of the several others sanctioned by the PDP, was based on allegations of anti-party activities. Responding to the action against him, Nnamani took to Twitter in the early hours of today to disclose that the decision and announcement of his suspension came to him as a rude shock and huge surprise. The former governor added that he was never at any time notified of any petition or complaint against him or informed of the grounds that formed the decision of the PDP's NWC to suspend him from the party. And now away from politics, the Ondo State government has commenced another immunization round tagged Outbreak Response 2 in a bid to prevent the recurrence of polio in Nigeria. The Permanent Secretary, Ondo State Primary Healthcare Development Agency, Dr. Francis Akambiamu, said Nigeria has been declared polio-free, hence the need to maintain that status. According to him, health workers would be moving around to administer the vaccine on children from 1 day to 5 years, while other antigens would also be made available for children between 1 day and 23 months. He urged mothers to present their children for vaccination, whether in church, mosque, market, or other public places, to prevent polio and other child killer diseases. The Outbreak Response Initiative will last 5 days. You're watching the news at 7 on OSRC television. You can also watch us live on our website, www.osrc.ng, or follow us on Facebook, OSRC TV Ondo, and on YouTube you can subscribe to our channel, OSRC TV Ondo. The news continues shortly. Please stay with us. It's the news at 7 on OSRC television. Thank you for staying with us. New students admitted into the 2022-2023 academic session of Elizade University, Laramoki, have been charged to be focused and determined to succeed. The Vice Chancellor of the institution, Professor Olukayode Amand, during the 11th induction of students into the university at Laramoki, encouraged them to study hard and desist from examination malpractices and other kinds of misconduct. Joy Pius reports that 602 students were admitted and participated in the ceremony.
Faithfully abide by the rules and regulations of the university.
The matriculation ceremony for new undergraduates into the Elizade University, Ilaramokin, for the 2022-2023 academic session was held at the university premises in Ifedore local government area of Ondo State. The Vice-Chancellor of the university, Professor Olukayode Amond, who noted that the ceremony is the 11th of the university, restated the position of the university's mission, which is producing graduates that are endowed with appropriate skills and knowledge for the development of the nation and global competitiveness. The Vice-Chancellor said the university, since inception, has produced 7 sets of graduates and contributing to the nation's human capital development, while urging the students to shun misconducts that could jeopardize their aspiration to obtain the degrees of the university, urging them to make the most use of the various modern facilities provided by the institution for academic excellence.
My word for them is that they should focus on the reason why they have been admitted here as students, which is to study and then, excel. So my word for them is for them to be diligent, face their studies, attend classes promptly, and ask questions if there's any problem. They should connect with their lecturers, who are their parents in loco. And if there is any problem, they should feel free to see any member of the management, especially the Vice-Chancellor, whose door is always open to students.
Some of the matriculating students promised to give their best in attaining their dreams because they believe in the school's achievement.
My goal in this school is to become successful in life and to transform the software engineering system in Africa to another level.
I want to have a proper understanding of the law so I can help women.
I'm happy as a student for being a fully well-certified member of this school, and I feel the school has a lot to offer me.
And I want to encourage other students to not just stop at where if they conclude their courses, they should go further than that.
I want to encourage everybody to be focused in anything you say, be serious, and by the special grace of God, God will grant their heart desire.
The total number of students who took the matriculation oath are 602, spread across 4 faculties. Joy Pius, OSRC News.
Kunden Services Nigeria Limited in Alagbaka, Akure is now officially open for business. Formerly government printing press, the facility was concessioned to the private company for effective management. The facility now has expanded into a business conglomerate, and with the grand opening, it is set to service printing, tailoring, and other needs of the people of Ondo State and beyond.
When the government printing press was concessioned to Kunden Services Nigeria Limited, the management of the company went all out in effecting renovations towards giving the facility a new look. The abandoned facility is now an envy of all and now open for business with pomp and ceremony. The ceremony attracted dignitaries from far and wide who expressed delight at what they called unprecedented transformation of the facility.
That it is not easy to transform those carcass to, the kind of things we have witnessed tonight. So that period, you don't expect that organization to be paying returns. So it's a period of building up. And I am sure if the ministries will obey Mr. Governor, if they will adhere to the memo written to the ministries that they should patronize government printing press, I am sure henceforth this organization will start to grow and will start to glow.
Dr. Abiola Basharu, she's a person that multifunctions. She has the capacity, capability, and the stamina to do so many things at the same time. So you won't be surprised that rickety, old-looking and dilapidated structures that we saw as it was then is now transformed to this thing that we are looking at.
The occasion was spiced with musical renditions by an arm of Condon Services Nigeria Limited, the Alafia Hidden Treasure, and a guest choral group, Emerald Choir.
Remember, say they don't believe you are very happy, you and where's begins, where's your begins, and all of them will be super begin.
Apart from the printing press that is now digitized, Condon Services Nigeria Limited now parades other areas of business ventures, including an online radio, a Lafia multipurpose hall, a recording studio, photo and video studios, as well as Sewing Institute and a College of Environmental Technology, all in one compound. Well-trained personnel ready to serve the needs of clients.
The Nigeria Governors Forum has resolved to set up a 6-member committee led by the Anambra State Governor Charles Soludo to engage the Central Bank of Nigeria in addressing issues pertaining to the country's monetary management and financial system. The governors also resolved to collaborate with the CBN and the Nigerian Financial Intelligence Unit in advancing genuine objectives within the confines of Nigeria's laws. The governors arrived at the resolutions during the NGF's first meeting this year. The NGF, in a communique signed by its chairman, the Sokoto State Governor Aminu Tambuwal, noted that the recent NFIU advisory and guidelines on cash transactions were outside the NFIU's legal remit and mandate. The governor said they were not opposed to the objectives of the Naira redesign policy, but observed that there were huge challenges that remain problematic to the Nigerian populace. They expressed the need for the Central Bank of Nigeria to consider the peculiarities of states, especially as they pertain to financial inclusion. Meanwhile, the Central Bank of Nigeria has initiated a cash swap program across the 774 local government areas of the country as part of the implementation of the Naira redesign policy. The initiative between CBN, deposit money banks, and super agents would commence on Monday, January 23, to exchange the new Naira notes with old notes. CBN has insisted on the January 31 deadline for the old Naira notes to cease to be legal tender. CBN's Director of Banking Supervision Department, Haruna Mustafa, and the Director of Payment System, Musa Jimo, said the cash exchange shall be a maximum of 10,000 Naira per person. And on a very sad note, a 300-level student of the Federal University of Technology, Akure, Olena Joseph Oluwapelumi, has committed suicide in his off-campus lodge in the Aule area of the Ondo State capital. The student of the Department of Industrial Design was reported to have taken his own life by hanging for reasons suspected to be connected to depression and financial constraints. Osrc's findings revealed that his close friends in the early hours of today went to his room discovering it was locked, and after several calls without response, broke down the door to gain entrance into the room. Upon gaining entry, his body was discovered hanging with the buckets with which he aided the act. Popularly referred to as Black, some of his neighbors who did not want their names mentioned described Joseph as a playful being who never entered into arguments or fought with anyone. Further investigations by Osrc discovered that the Facebook page of the deceased, who is an entrepreneur and creates self-initiated designer wears with the brand name Thought Angle, contained posts on suicidal thoughts. Several of his posts also contained messages seeking financial help to enable him run his business. On October the 8th, his Facebook post read, quote, "Suicide kinda answers all. It's the only thing that listens and trusts you when you left all to yourself. Good night and goodbye. Aside the statement from the student union body, the school authority is yet to make an official statement. The Ondo State Police Public Relations Officer, Fumilayo Odunlami, who confirmed the incident, said the body has been deposited at the morgue. The United Nations says what is happening in Afghanistan is a grave crisis for women's rights and a wake-up call for the international community. It has raised the alarm about the Taliban's orders banning women from working for age groups and girls from higher education. The UN's highest-ranking female official has just wrapped up a 4-day visit to Afghanistan, as Odwayo Soya reports.
This was the first high-level meeting between the UN and Taliban since they retook power in Afghanistan, and the UN delegation by the organization's highest-ranking woman, Deputy Secretary General Amina Mohammed. She held talks with Acting Foreign Affairs Minister Amir Khan Mutaki. Top of the agenda, reversing restrictions on women's access to education and work. A ministry spokesman posted on Twitter that they also discussed travel restrictions on government officials and financial sanctions imposed by the international community. When the Taliban took power in 2021, Washington froze almost $10 billion in assets belonging to the Afghan Central Bank. The economy shrunk by at least 20%. The UN says 9 of 10 households don't have enough to eat. NGOs struggled to help after the Taliban banned women working with charities. That ban has now been partially lifted, and UN delegates say they are pleased with the progress. Last month, women were banned from attending university. They have also been banned from attending secondary education and some government jobs. The UN delegation will be looking for progress on these issues too. Odwayo Soya, Osrc News.
Let's now move to sports. The Nigeria Football Federation has extended the tenure of the Interim Management Committee of the Nigeria Professional Football League till the end of the 2022-2023 season. According to NFF President Ibrahim Goso, the extension of IMC's tenure is to allow the body concentrate fully on management of the ongoing MPFL season. The NFF president inaugurated the IMC, headed by Gbenga Elegbeleye, on October 21 last year, with an initial mandate of 3 months. IMC has since its inauguration gone on to put in place structures for the league to get better. The current season is scheduled to end in May. And now to end the news at 7, another look at the major stories. Ondo State Governor Oluwarotimi Akeredolu has declared Tuesday, the 24th of this month, as work-free to enable eligible voters in the state collect their permanent voter cards at the Independent National Electoral Commission's designated centers in the local government areas. The Ondo State government has commenced immunization for children in a bid to prevent the recurrence of polio. The Nigeria Governance Forum is to set up a 6-member committee led by the Anambra State Governor Charles Soludo to engage the Central Bank of Nigeria in addressing the country's monetary management and financial systems issues. United Nations' highest-ranking female official has wrapped up a 4-day visit to Afghanistan aimed at restoring the rights of women in that country. That's it on the news at 7. Thank you for being a part of it. Good evening.